In the middle of tremendous darkness and personal tragedy, false lights are trying to guide us, and they can bring shipwreck. We must be focused on God's pathways and His light in the storms of life. Christ is the light of navigation. Hello, and welcome to the Light of Navigation and this Reflections podcast. My name is Marguerite Lever-Woodall, and I'm an author, speaker, and your host. In these podcasts, I love to explore and contemplate different life issues and their solutions through the lens of God's wisdom and His words. In this 28th episode of Reflections for Wisdom, titled Kick the Coffin Over, I'm sharing a deeply personal look at how we can give up on life without even realizing it. Sometimes we give up too soon. Join me in giving thought on the tough issues of life, and let's discover God's pathways through them. What I want to share here today is deeply personal, and it's hard to share with others. To put it all out there in front of everybody. But God knows me very well, and He's given me an attitude of transparency about life and its ups and downs. If I believe that what I've experienced in life will reach someone and bring hope, it's certainly worth it to me, and I'll share it. So here goes. How is it that some of us come to a place where we've given up on life and just want to lay down on the inside? Internally, there can be a place in us where we've come to believe that we don't deserve life or deserve to live. As a result, a part of us subconsciously decides to hold our own funeral, so to speak. We've already decided that life is not worth living for one reason or another. How do we act this out? What does it look like when we've adopted this attitude? Now, I'm not talking about the obvious outward indicators of a death wish, but about the more subtle or overlooked ones. First and foremost, there's addictions. They're a flight from the pain that life presents and can be a form of slow suicide. Years ago, I learned this when I asked a godly man, an apostle, why I struggled so much with trying to quit smoking. It had been a lifelong habit. He paused for a few moments before replying, and I knew he was listening for an answer from God. With tear-filled compassion in his eyes, he finally replied, "There are many ways people choose to kill themselves, to commit a slow suicide." Well, I must say, that said it all for me, and he was right. I'd grown up in a family atmosphere where severe criticism and rejection was a dish served up daily, and you ate it whether you wanted it or not. The pain of the verbal and emotional abuse ran deep for me. As a result, I came to a place subconsciously where a part of me began to believe that I didn't deserve to live. That unholy belief undergirded my life, and I didn't consciously realize it. Addictions can be an avenue to the coffin, a slow suicide, when you believe you don't deserve life for one reason or another. Years later, as my walk with Christ became a more fixed part of my journey, He suddenly began addressing this issue with me, and He did it through a dream that would surface periodically. I can't speak for anyone else, but God can say a great deal through an image He conveys, whether it's through a dream, a vision, or just a bold thought. And it can tie directly into Scripture too. God relates to us in different ways as we can receive and understand it. I've said it before, that He speaks to me through these images off and on, and occasionally through dreams. In this brief dream, I saw myself laying in a coffin. It was on its platform in a field or meadow just below the crest of a hillside. I wasn't dead yet, but I could not rise up out of the coffin or cry out for help either. The sun was setting, and with the coffin lid open, people were filing by to give their final farewells to me. The closing of the coffin lid was imminent, and I remember the anger, frustration, and grief that I felt just laying there. It was a horrific resignation and helplessness with this fate that I deeply felt. A part of me wanted desperately to live, but the ingrained result of rejection's abuse dictated otherwise. And I was torn between life and death. The understanding came from the Lord that there was a part of me, as a result of the rejection in my life, a part of me that did not believe that I deserved to live, and that I might as well plan for my death ahead of time. As I describe this, I believe that others who fight addictions know what I'm trying to relate here. My description may be unique to me, but the general message it communicates is probably well understood by others who feel trapped in life. Whether it's through addictions or abusive situations, who knows? We can deeply believe falsehoods about ourselves because of life's abuse and not even realize it, or what its impact is on a personal level. God was showing me that I had laid down in life on the inside and was waiting for death to eventually overtake me through my addiction. This is where a literal suicidal spirit can enter to rear its ugly head, too. I can recall twice when this awful spirit assaulted me. I had the battle of my life, pardon the pun, as I rejected it and cried out to God. That spirit will attack periodically during times of great stress or hardship that life can present. It will try to strike quickly in an emotional moment of pain or deep fear. And I have a holy hatred for this demonic spirit above all others. As my journey with the Lord has taken shape and progressive healing emotionally has come, and purpose has taken root in me, the dream scenario suddenly changed one day. The Lord brought to me a progress report of sorts that I wasn't expecting. The dream's image showed up once again, and I saw how His guidance and love was changing my slow suicidal attitude. I recall vividly the day that dream changed. In it, I saw myself rise up, climb out of the coffin, and begin to walk away. There it sat, an empty coffin with a setting sun in the backdrop, and yes, the people were still standing all around. No one seemed to be aware that I'd gotten up and had started walking away. I sensed that I no longer wanted to die, but I wanted to live. As my relationship with God has deepened over the years, He has given me every reason to do so because of His great love and goodness. Through relationship, He has a wonderful way of dealing with rejection and bringing restoration to our deepest damage. It's been 20 years since the last interaction occurred from the Lord about this issue. A great deal of water has gone under the bridge in my life since then. There was the death of a husband, then a son, as well as a health crisis and its brush with death shortly afterward. There's a myriad of ways that life tries to destroy us. During all of those tragedies and painful events, I learned what I could not have learned before without them. As a result, God's great love and faithfulness became pillars in my life, and they are anchors that cannot be moved. As I stood in a church service worshiping not long ago, and as I was engulfed by His presence, God brought the dream's image back one more time. It was spontaneous and unexpected. The mourners were still standing around the empty coffin as though frozen in time, and the setting sun was still glowing on the horizon. Then suddenly, from nowhere, I saw myself turning around and walking back through the crowd again. It was as though I'd forgotten one more thing I needed to do. I walked right up to the coffin's edge and swiftly, powerfully kicked it over off its platform. Then I turned and passed back through the crowd one more time, never to return again. Before I could stop myself, I laughed out loud as I was worshiping. I knew immediately that this was the third and final progress report from the Lord for total closure. Is there a place in your life where you're laying down and waiting to die? There's good news. There's the Lord of the resurrection, and He may be passing by. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life, and have it in all its fullness. John 10:10. Thank you for taking time to listen today. I know this podcast touches on a tough subject, but if it will bring hope to someone you know, please pass it on. Your comments are always valued, and subscribing is appreciated. The 29th episode of Reflections for Wisdom will be full of intrigue. It's titled, "It's a Conspiracy."